Alright, this is the third video for the second reading on the financial statement analysis. We have already introduced this reading to you. The second video was about understanding the objectives of these financial standards setting bodies. Now, in this section, we are going to cover the section 3 and 4 of the reading, which is about the role of standard setting bodies and the regulators. So this one is going to be brief because the reading includes particular role about the particular regulators in US or Europe. So you can go about reading about them. So to start with, this section starts off by making a distinction between the standards accounting standard setting bodies and the regulatory bodies. Obviously, these are two different entities, but both are dependent on each other, but we need to make a distinction. The accounting standard setting boards are usually private. They're not government entities. Since they're private, they rely on the subject matter experts, for example, accountants, tax accountants, valuators. So all of these distinguished individuals, they participate on these accounting standard setting boards. They are obviously independent. They are not influenced by governments or any. They're not supposed to be influenced by businesses, and their objective is not for profit. So this means they are free from influence from private businesses, governments, and other individuals. So these accounting standard boards, for example, IASB, that releases the International Financial Reporting Standards, they usually have a basic process. The basic process is that, for example, there's a certain issue with regards to certain accounting standard that is brought to its knowledge. It's added to the agenda for the upcoming meeting. Then once it's on the agenda, the issue is it's taken into consideration. All the distinguished members on the committee, relevant committee, they discuss different from various angles how and what way the issue should be addressed. Sometimes they solicit advice from particular industry experts. For example, if it's related to technology, they would call in relevant industries experts on the subject matter. After soliciting advice, they would come up with a draft standard that is available for public review, and private participants, individuals or businesses, they can who are supposed to be, who get affected by this new standard or this draft may review and share their feedback. Once the feedback is in, the International Accounting Standards Board, they see if they need to, revisit what the draft was, and a final draft is published. This is how the various international accounting standards are arrived at. Similarly, in US, we have the Financial Accounting Standards Board. They follow a similar process like IASB. Both IASB and FASB, they can only set certain guidelines or standards for various companies to adopt while preparing their financial statements. But they have no role in enforcing these standards. Who is responsible for the enforcement of these standards? Are obviously the regulatory authorities. Regulatory authorities like Securities and Exchange Commission in USA, SECP in Pakistan, and various other regulatory authorities. All these securities commissions, usually what they are called across the globe, they all participate in the International Organization of Securities Commissions. The objectives and although the International Organization of Securities Commissions has no legal authority within any particular jurisdiction, but all these securities and exchange bodies, the regulatory bodies that are entrusted with accounting, enforcing particular reporting standards in their respective jurisdictions, are members on this. So the objectives and principles for International Organization of Securities and Commission are, first and foremost, protecting the investors, ensuring that the markets are fair, efficient and transparent, and reducing the systematic risk. Obviously, when the financial reports are transparent, fair, they're representing the underlying economic fundamentals of a business, this is how the investors' interests are protected. And when all the participants adopt these fair, efficient and transparent standards, they eventually help reducing the systematic risk within the economy. One of the examples of regulatory authorities that is discussed in quite detail in the reading is the Securities and Exchange Commission of US. The reading talks about the various legislations that are there in USA. For example, the Securities Exchange Commission Act of 1933, which was updated a year later in 1934. Then there is the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002. Now this is a bit interesting. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 came out, was adopted or developed after one of the biggest corporate scandals that unfolded in USA. It was the Enron bankruptcy that was there. So the gist of this Sarbanes-Oxley Act is that the auditors are not supposed to provide any other services to the company they are auditing. For example, in Enron's case, the auditors were also providing some sort of consultancy. So in a way, if the company's financial performance was not up to the mark, and who is to be blamed for? Obviously the consultant who's advising the company on improving its performance. And when the same when another arm of the same company is providing providing its audit services to the same company, so in a way there is a lot of conflict of interest. The auditors may be influenced by the consultancy business to provide a picture of the underlying operations in a way that is likely to keep the consultancy business going. So Sarbanes-Oxley Act prohibits auditors of a particular firm to contract any other non-audit business with these companies. Then there are a number of regulatory filings or statements, as we say, in the US, Form 10, Form 10K, 8K, 6K. So when we read, when you read, you'll understand what objectives do these filings serve. Another important is the proxy statement. All the shareholders must have a copy of the statement of proxy before a general shareholders meeting so that they can participate effectively. So this brings us to the end of this third and fourth section of this reading. The next sections from 5, 6, and sections 5, 6 and 7 cover the IFRS framework and requirements. We'll talk about them in the next video.